All right, today we're jumping into a fascinating clash. The clean, perfect world of theory versus the messy, high-stakes reality of the trenches. We're going to look at the ideal plan on paper for managing risk, and then see what really happens when that plan smacks right into the front lines of a cyber attack. This all boils down to a question we all face, whether we're running a company or just trying to get through the week. How do you make the right call when you just plain don't know what's coming next? This is the exact problem that the entire field of risk management was created to solve.
Okay, let's get into it. And this might surprise you, but managing risk isn't just about winging it or going with your gut. It's actually a whole field of science, something that's been developed over the last 30 or 40 years to give us a logical, structured way to deal with threats and all that uncertainty. Now, check out the official definition of risk here. The key words aren't bad things happening. The words that really matter are uncertainty and severity. So, at its heart, risk management is really the science of dealing with what we don't know and figuring out just how bad it could be if things go sideways.
So in theory, we get this really neat and tidy four-step process. First, you figure out your context, like what are you actually trying to protect? Then you brainstorm all the potential hazards. After that, you analyze them, evaluate them, and finally, you decide what to do. Avoid the risk, reduce it, or maybe just live with it. Simple, clean, logical. Sounds easy, right?
And this is where the story takes a hard right turn. Because as elegant as that little four-step process looks on a slide, what happens when you try to use it in a real, live fire situation? It's time to leave the classroom and head into the command center.
We're going inside what's basically the digital 911 call center and emergency room all rolled into one. The Security Operations Center, or SOC for short. This is the place where the perfect theory of risk management meets the brutal, messy reality of cyber defense.
Just picture it, a room, screens everywhere, alerts flashing 24/7. The team in a SOC has one single critical mission: find, analyze, and shut down cybersecurity threats in real time. Every single second counts, and pretty much the digital life of the entire organization is riding on their shoulders.
Now, to handle this constant flood of information, most SOCs have a structure kind of like this, an escalation ladder. Tier 1 folks are the first responders, sifting through thousands of alerts. If something looks really bad, they kick it up to Tier 2, the deep dive incident responders. And for the really nasty, complex stuff, it goes all the way to Tier 3 and beyond, the expert threat hunters. The whole system is built for speed.
But here's the first place where that perfect plan totally breaks down. That nice structured risk process we just saw, it kind of assumes you know exactly what you're protecting. But what happens if you can't even see your own network?
This quote from a real SOC manager in a recent study, man, it says everything. The single biggest thing stopping these teams from doing their job is what they call low visibility. You can't respond fast if you don't even know a computer or a server exists. It is a massive, massive blind spot.
So why do these blind spots even exist? Well, it's not some crazy technical problem, it's a people problem. An employee plugs in their own personal router because it makes their life easier. Some department sets up its own servers and doesn't tell IT. Or think about a university, where literally thousands of students bring their own gadgets onto the network every single day. Getting a perfect list of everything is, well, it's pretty much impossible.
Okay, so let's get to the second major point of friction. And this one is just fascinating. It's not about the technology, it's about perspective. The research shows this deep and honestly kind of dangerous disconnect between the managers running the SOC and the analysts on the digital front lines.
And this quote from an analyst just hits the nail on the head. A manager might go to their boss and say, hey, we handled 1 million security events this month. But the analyst on the ground knows that number is totally meaningless. It creates this false sense of security, making it look like the team's crushing it, when really, they might just be chasing their tails.
And this chart, wow, it just lays that divide bare. The data shows these huge gaps in how managers and analysts see the exact same things. I mean, look at this. A 44% difference of opinion on automation, a 40% gap on the very metrics they use to define success, and a 33% gap on whether their tools even work right. It's like they're living in two completely different realities.
Let's just dig into that automation debate for a second. You have a manager who says, quote, "I always need more automation." They see it as the answer to everything. But then you have an analyst saying, hold on, it's just a buzzword, and when we over-automate, we actually get less quality work done, not more. So one person's silver bullet is another person's complete distraction.
So where does all this leave us?
We have a perfect theory for how to manage risk on one hand and a real-world system full of blind spots and people who can't agree on the other. How in the world do you bridge a gap that big?
So here's the most important takeaway. Real, successful cybersecurity isn't just about having the best flowchart or the most expensive software. It's all about closing that gap between the plan on the whiteboard and the actual person staring at a screen at 3 in the morning trying to make the right call. It's about the people.
The good news is, the research gives us a pretty clear path forward. First, you've got to tackle that visibility crisis. Improve asset discovery. You have to see it to save it. Second, provide real effective training, not just some check-the-box videos. And third, managers and analysts have to sit down together and come up with metrics that actually measure security, not just how busy everyone is. And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. This whole problem isn't just about cybersecurity, right? Every system, at our jobs, in our government, even in our own lives, has this gap between the perfect plan and the messy reality. So what's the most critical blind spot in the systems that you depend on every single day?